sit in front of you, but
No, it's fine.
just
So
wanted.
Doug, do you have to like walk up to your house now? I saw that, that's like a little bit of a hike.
Yeah. Oh, we seal coated.
Oh,
Yeah, I drove by, like, oh, that's gotta be a
get
pain.
yourself a little cart to ride up the lawn and.
Well, I had, yeah,
Same deal.
actually, I got Beckett, but came and got me earlier.
Nice.
Here's the picture. Oh, there we go. You're on.
All right, so call the meeting to order. So the first thing we need to do is elect officers for the 25 budget season. I guess we will entertain nominations for chair, we have chair, co-chair, and secretary.
I'm nominated for chair.
Second.
Anyone else? All right, all in favor? Okay, I'll do it.
Quick nominating.
And for vice chair?
Yeah,
You're nominating yourself?
sure, why not?
I'll second that.
Perfect.
Anyone else want to take that role? All right, all in favor?
Guess I won't be secretary.
And for the real job,
Well played.
secretary?
Does anybody else want the job? All right. We just
You're
did
very good at
such
it.
a great job.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah. And do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, Emily? Thank you for being that.
Exactly.
Okay, so I guess we go over the new proposed school budget. I guess that would be you, Kate, right? So where do we want to start here? Just
Sure.
tell us what's different, or?
The school committee met twice since the June 11th vote and has hashed out, I guess there's no other way to say it, right? Some new numbers. We also have the benefits of this late in the year, knowing insurance enrollment is closed and some hiring has been done, so we have some actual numbers to work with. So we are bringing forward a budget to you that is a 9.9% increase over last year's budget.
What was the proposed increase previously?
So what was voted on in May 16th was 14.9.
9 point what this year? Just
9.9, so it's basically a 5% decrease.
Yes. Math.
A little bit of that. So I don't know what you guys think here. I mean, my instinct is like, what's different
Yes.
in this budget? And so maybe we can just go through what's different. We've obviously gone over this prior budget pretty extensively. So I guess we'll kind of hear what's different.
Well, we, let's see, we raked over the numbers, and again, like, because we've hired school counselor, that number was, we could slash that number because we know what that person would actually cost. We weren't guessing at, and, you know.
This is guidance counselor as opposed to school social worker.
This is school counselor, right, yes, that was already in the, but, you know, that was replacing a retiree who was at the top of the scale. And insurance, enrollment is closed, so people who have taken their insurance in January, we have to kind of
Assume everybody will take it.
try to figure out, you know, what if somebody suddenly takes, because it can be a $10,000 to $15,000 difference between the different types of insurances, so. But now we know exactly where we are there. So we were able to, and there's some other places we were able to trim. We have, in terms of the additional things we had talked about, finally come to, this budget does include funds for a part-time social worker. We heard a lot from both sides of the aisle on that. So we decided to kind of split the pot for social worker and also include some funds, some 45,000 I think, for facilities and maintenance, for those things that we know are,
So that's an item from the last budget.
yes, because we also heard pretty clearly that there was a concern there that we had not added money in for that. We still have some support in the front office, in this budget.
Do you want to be able to go through the cost centers?
Yeah, what, that sounds makes sense, right? Because we'll be voting on them later. Which should be in our.
That way then if you have targeted questions about which cost
Yep.
center, we can answer
That
that.
sounds good. So.
There, I had my look right there.
So this would be, starting with these, going through like regular education, because we'll vote on it later. So yeah, so regular education, what's different there?
So, let me think about this, because I did not bring our 14.92.
The family medical, not family medical, the
Yes,
one that we
that's
had to have money for paid maternity, paternity leave, paid family leave. We found out that recently they made the decision, it's only for new contracts. So our teachers are on their third year of their contract, so we don't have to set aside money for them until they start their new contract, which will be next year. So we don't have to have money in the budget for that, so we were able to take out some of the money for family medical that we thought we were gonna have. Hourly staff, it's still in there for hourly staff, so there is still some there that has to be there because the, I guess they're at will, I don't know how they're described, but they have to renew their contract every year for hourly staff versus teachers are in a 3-year contract.
And this is where there's a large reduction because of insurance, there's a
Okay.
large part of insurances.
Any questions on regular instruction?
So like I'm noticing that health insurance prof is down approximately 45,000. That's because we're not covering the family
Because we
leave.
know how they are, well, so that's gonna cover the family leave, but the health insurance piece of it, that's not family leave. So health insurance is gonna be, did they actually enroll in, I need a family plan, I need a single plan, I'm opting out of insurance. We actually know what their enrollment is for their insurance.
The main family leave is no longer a line item at all in that cost center
For teachers.
for teachers.
And tech is still there for
Yes.
medical.
It's now at 0, I'm sorry, it is still a line item, it's now at 0.
Any other questions on regular instruction? Seeing none, I say we move on to special education.
So this is another place where you might see that change in health insurance. Also in the family medical leave for professional teachers, that's taken out. And that's the changes there, pretty much.
So they're not planning to do that room? for special-
So that's in
Building.
O&M, and, no, it's interesting, in January, we had a cadre of kids that needed exceptional support from staff, and they were doing a great job with it, and Justin felt we needed this program, which was part of the social worker, a quiet room, and an extra ed tech. The landscape has changed, and
With the kids.
so, right, and so, we feel very comfortable taking out that ed tech, taking out the idea of needing the quiet room and, part of the social worker.
So the significant change in special education is not only just the change in the insurance, it's removing the ed tech that we needed?
Ed tech is no longer.
Yes, sorry, yes.
So the ed tech that I'm seeing, ed tech wages went up, $51,000.
Yes, because we originally, or it used to be that we used the special education grant
Right,
to pay for that, and then realized we were paying a 22% tax to use the grant for that information, for that. So we moved the grant down to contracted services. So the grant would, you see that speech is at 0, and, yeah, I think it's. that's where the-
Why did it change so dramatically? Like the meeting we had in May, it was needed and it was pretty aggressively fought after. And now we are June,
Which thing? So
July
which-
2nd. The
Essentially
special
what
ed,
he's
like the
saying
need for the
is-
special ed situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small town, I don't wanna get too specific, because I don't wanna identify.
Well, I
any
don't
students,
need that
but we
information.
have
Did kids transfer or?
The landscape changed.
The landscape change.
But you understand why I'm questioning
Of
it. It was like 3 weeks
Just
of
if
school
I
and
say
things are different now.
Next scenario, then people might know who it is, I really don't wanna get specific, but
Okay.
yes, the kids' needs in the building at the end of the year are significantly different than what they were.
I wanna make sure we're not in a situation where we're saying we don't need it right now
No.
and then next year we
Agreed.
need it again.
Well, and yes, we worry about that, but.
I mean, it could, I get that, but I just wanna make sure that we're really
Just-
not just making a slash to get this to pass because it's the timing
Thank you.
versus it's no longer needed.
That is greatly appreciated, but Justin was pretty clear that he feels comfortable with the staffing that we have now, that we can meet.
They'll make it work.
Other questions on special education? Okay, the next article is career technical, which we do not buy, so I think we can
Change there.
pass that one.
Just to clarify, it's not because we don't support it, just not our line item.
So, Article 7 is on other instruction. Any major changes there?
So that's where, instead of where we put in the part-time social worker. So guidance salary,
No, I'm
includes,
sorry, other instruction is co-curricular, so no, it's not really good.
oh, we're not under
Huge
student
change
staff.
there.
Sorry,
Right, sorry,
you're right.
didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no,
So
no.
no real change on other
No,
instruction?
I don't think so.
Any questions on that? Okay. Student staff support. So that's a social worker.
I know, right, getting ahead of myself. Well,
So,
that was the big one, that the guidance and salary does include both the school counselor and, so guidance is on there, but they're calling it school counselor is the new name that should be called the school counselor. And then we have a part-time social worker. So that 86,000 is both positions, because we now know who we've hired for that school counselor position. And they're at the beginning of their career, so they're at the bottom of the pay scale versus having to budget for the top. So that's a huge not savings, but actual change. And then we have budgeted for a part-time social worker in there, which would include insurance
part-time.
line as well,
Partial.
the prorated insurance.
Right. So that cost center went from 532,265 to 456,787.
The questions for support services? Do you guys have someone in mind for that part-time social position? No, but that's, you're advertising as a part-time position,
Right.
Will be.
or will be. Okay.
so just a quick question, because I know we're gonna go through this again next year. How do we quantify what we got out of hiring these extra people? I mean, I know that there's all kinds of things out there, and then students are going through a lot, but how do we quantify what we benefited from doing this?
In terms of specifically the social worker, is that
Yes,
what you're asking,
yeah.
Jerry? We should, there's various metrics we can look at in terms of students serviced. Some of them might be through special ed, some of them might not be. We would hope to see a decrease in behavior, we would hope to see a decrease in discipline, we would hope to see a decrease maybe even in chronic absenteeism. if there is an educational plan with a goal that the social worker has to report on, then we would see progress there, that would be reported specific to that goal. So there are some metrics.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
And in my happy world, it would also include ready for high school.
Right,
Like
yeah,
the middle schoolers, are they ready to go on to the next level of education? Are they prepared for ninth grade? Are they succeeding once they, I mean, you can't always fully tell what goes on at the high school, because then they're at the high school, but you wanna set them up for success for being
Mhm.
ready and not dropping out in freshman year or struggling with freshman year. I mean, it's transitionary, but we want kids to be ready for high school.
right, okay.
But if you see a change in any of these metrics, you can't ascribe it to any particular thing that you did.
Well, there's
Because it's
always,
just like a one-shot thing, right?
and it's only us, we're the school,
Yeah, that's
the kids have lots of other things they're doing. But there are some industry standard metrics that we can, take a look at if we have a specific need for a student, either it's because they're not coming to school or struggles socially or whatever it is, that we could say, kiddos spending more time in the classroom or actually coming in to school, or, we could, or we service X amount of families with wraparound services, got them connected with social services that are needed, those kinds of things. We can,
And I would assume studies have been done, and you look at 100 schools, with and without the different services, and look for some little, statistical shift that's significant. I mean, you have to depend on a big sample.
yeah.
That's what I would think.
I mean, we do know that social workers make a big difference in the world, and I'm not just saying that, because I'm sitting next to
I just
them.
believe that, but, you get data too, if you look at a big sample.
I would just say, I don't work with kids from LCS because I have kids in LCS, but in my experience as a clinical social worker, my contact with schools is almost always with the social worker. They're the people I go to. Guidance counselors can be great, I work with guidance as well, but it's not their area of expertise when you're dealing with mental health issues, which are endemic with all our kids, particularly post-COVID. So you know my position on this one, but I'm certainly pleased to see that we're considering the idea of a part-time social worker, the same as open hours and every other school in the area has. I think it's been a disservice to our kids for a number of years. But that's my personal opinion there. Other thoughts, questions? Good, all right. So we will move on to system administration.
So there should be no change in that. That was the budget decided upon by the school committee back in January for the system. Although, yeah,
It's about $1,000 in it.
there is about $1,000 more. Could be just
School committee insurance went up, is what he
school committee insurance on it?
And the business office, so our share of the superintendent's office is also in the business office, cost went up.
Can I backpedal a minute?
Please.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
The health services increased by 29,000. I'm seeing that it was insurance allocation and nurse salary.
That remains the same as, that was something that, we knew was gonna go up, because that's who we hired as the school nurse. So we've been paying the entire salary, all budget, because the last school nurse that we had was significantly underpaid and went off to do other things, and then when we had to replace her, found out, the market value for a school nurse is significantly increased. So that's actually what we've been paying for her.
And I know in the iterations of the budgets that have come to you guys, Justin found an error and had not accounted for the insurance, and that's what that insurance is in there as accurate now.
Gotcha.
Mouse goes over there.
Doesn't help.
So on the system administration, just a quick question, just to clarify, so it's showing that 950 increase for the school committee insurance, and we got a $1.13 decrease in FICA Medicare, but the total difference is $977.87, which
Is it not fair?
That doesn't add
Yeah.
up. I mean, it's only a few dollars, but
It doesn't look like the unemployment stipend is showing a difference on there. It's just there in the
Oh, I
big
see.
one
The
versus
$29.
a comparison.
that would do it.
Oh, there it is. Thank you.
So now that
Sorry, I'm a banker.
That's
I'm so sure your resume. Not my strong suit. All right, should we move on to school administration?
School administration has been decreased from 289,056.79 to 278,459.31.
Is that the principal benefits, is it?
Yeah,
Did we take out the benefits?
he lost them all.
He must have gone into his wife's plan.
I approve
No,
that.
because health
Oh.
insurance principal is down there at 25. Yeah,
That's
he
good.
must have
Paul
parsed
didn't take
something
health
out
insurance.
somewhere, but
He didn't either for his first year. That's why he got, yeah. Our Justin didn't either for this year take.
The insurance benefits?
right, so he's getting more accurate with those things and,
It is budgeted in there, but I don't actually know why, because that was part of his hiring package, was he didn't take insurance.
Forever?
but this year he
No,
is.
for that year, for that first
This year
year.
he is, yeah. But Paul might
At the
have
time we
budgeted,
hired him, we didn't know he wasn't gonna take it. Or at
Right.
the time we did the budget, we didn't know he was gonna be hired without taking insurance, so we
Right.
budgeted for insurance.
So we're sure that's not an error. I mean, there just has been several items that, there's been errors on it, and it's a significant amount. And I don't understand why it was included during the first reviews, when we've gone over it so many times, if he's not really taking it. I can't imagine that was a surprise, that he decided
The
not to take it.
25,000 was in requirements.
the 26.5 was in last year's budget, as was the 17.5, so it was doubled up somehow. So now the 24.9 is accurate.
Can you say that again?
This is 22-23, right? So there's 26.5 in there, plus the 17.05 just below.
So you're saying those two line items are the same thing?
Well,
principal
one
benefits
says
and-
principal benefit, and one says health insurance principal.
That's commissioners.
I fully feel like this is Justin's budget, and if that's the way he has left it.
Me too.
And I'm not saying that to be flippant,
No.
I feel like he would make sure he's gonna get paid, I would hope, if he needed it. He's got his health insurance in there, he's
Yeah.
got dental in there,
Well, either way, if we vote on it, it's gonna be what it is.
Right.
So we're.
and that's what we already we voted on this number as well.
And down, yeah.
I'm not gonna argue with it.
It's a lower number than was in last year's budget.
But principal benefits, $0, now what kind of benefits besides?
That's what we were just discussing.
Yes, I know, it's just,
Zero return.
Well, for next year, none.
Retirement plan?
Oh,
Is
that's
it
normally
kind
what
of
it,
added?
did you pay the previous principal additional because you weren't contributing to his retirement because he'd already retired?
He didn't get insurance.
Oh, it
because-
could be retirement.
But I don't think he had benefits at 26, that's not, yeah.
I'll just shut up and sit back down.
I might take a look.
We could text him, but he's actually on a plane right now,
Yeah.
absolutely no cell phone service.
That's not gonna work.
Okay, let's say it was a low.
It says 0, let's move on.
Yeah, that's a
Alright.
low number.
Yeah, that's, sorry.
Alright, we're ready to move on from that.
We're not gonna argue with you
I'm not
guys.
gonna change it, so.
Transportation.
Okay, so transportation, now I got out of my.
There shouldn't be anything that changed from
But it
last
stayed the
time.
same.
Right, I was gonna say, it should be a change from last iteration.
Now, have we only had one contract, is that a guaranteed contract at this point?
Is it a 2-year contract?
Yeah, we carried over, so it's next year, there you go.
So we'll have to go out to bid
Sweat.
next fall.
Sweat it out
After we
next
fight it
year.
out in the winter. Be cooler. All right, so going on to facilities maintenance.
Right, so facilities maintenance is up a bit from $408.76 $76.32 to $432.832.99. And there is where we increased purchased services. Nope.
Miscellaneous expense,
Miscellaneous.
we added in the 50,000.
Yeah.
So this, the other half is a social worker position that we initially thought, let's do a full time. We split that down to a half-time and put the remaining balance into facilities maintenance under miscellaneous, so we have 51,000 now for building maintenance.
Rosie?
Yes, I don't mean to, anything here, but I think it might be important to go back to transportation for just a second and have them tell you what was discussed last night about some things that they're going to try to do. I think it's beneficial to the budget committee on that. You know what I'm talking about? You guys?
I think so.
Okay, thank you.
That's what we're talking about.
Well, so we were pretty surprised when we went out to bid. We got two bids that were 50% higher than what we were expecting, or it was significantly, maybe I'm getting that was, anyway. The busing is approximately $80,000 a bus per run, right, or per bus. And that was a lot higher than what we were expecting or used to, or, so the school committee has had some discussions over the year, actually, of ways that we can figure out to reduce those costs. And these are things we're gonna need to talk about in a more structured and organized way. We're looking at creating a strategic 5-year plan that sort of lays out, but some of the options we have talked about are Lincolnville itself buying maybe some vans that could take kids to sporting events or activities, because right now that costs a
Field
lot of
trips.
money per bus. Field trips are a lot of money per bus. We have looked a number of times throughout the year at the bus runs. We tried to go with 2 buses this year to save some money, and got a lot of feedback that wasn't working. So we had an option with the bus company to increase to 3 buses, so we did. But there's still some question about the way the bus company creates those bus runs, and could that be more efficient if you weren't just using it, in the bus companies in Lewiston, no shade on them, but they're not in Lincolnville, knowing that, if you're gonna go down X Street, it really is gonna take you a lot more time because you gotta turn around or whatever. I'm not an expert on bus runs, but that is something that we talked about talking with them about a little bit more this year, because we still do have some kids on the bus for 45 minutes, and we're hoping that that is not the case. That's a long time for a kiddo to be on the bus.
My kids have been 45 minutes since
Forever.
kindergarten.
Even when we went, even when
Is
we
there-
made the
Well,
change,
but I
yeah.
think if we get those efficiencies in our bus run, that also should help with fuel costs going down, because if they're not on the road as long, you don't have to pay.
Is there currently a state maximum for time on the bus for children? I know in other states that's the other thing.
And then the other thing, Justin apparently had a conversation with Camden about sharing some services at some point down the road. Camden has their own buses, and there's a vision, but that should be relatively long-term, because Camden has to be able to service their folks, and then, move out the services, but that was another thought, was could we share some services?
I think you need to clarify. So what Justin had said was Camden on the after-school buses,
Thank you, Doug.
they actually have a lower rate than whoever we used. I'm not sure who we used, but anyway, Camden is able to actually they got these facilities, they might as well create some revenue, and while they're sitting there, and so Justin has been exploring the possibility of, rather than using a contract, use Camden, which is a much lower rate for after-school busing.
But none of this is impacting this
This
budget.
current budget,
Yeah,
right?
this is sort of school committee.
These are official.
No, but I felt that it was beneficial
Yep,
to the budget committee to hear what was discussed. I think this is a future plan, this is something that's going to impact next year's budget. That's what, and I felt that you ought to hear.
Because the realities of transportation is that they're not, it's not gonna go down.
it's been going up, yeah.
And it's a lot of money, and with that much money, could you do something differently? It's been a
Yes.
discussion we've been having about a year now, right?
Right.
So,
Thank you. Any other questions on that issue? All right, back to facilities maintenance.
Did you guys go down in custodial, it looks like, 10,000? So does that mean somebody's working half-time instead of full-time? For me,
Oh, actually, that's going up. No, it's not against the place.
very first line under.
Oh, yeah.
yep. My guess is that Justin got some actual numbers, I'm not sure, we have not reduced
Okay.
custodial, to my knowledge.
Were you guys hiring a new custodian?
Nope, we have the two guys,
Is one of the people the one that shares with the kitchen?
that might be what it is.
Oh, yes, we had discussed that at the, one of the meetings.
And so it
Okay.
got
That's
to
a different line.
be, he better figured out how much time is actually spent doing custodial versus,
Right,
kitchen.
so those actual numbers, right, so he took a good long look at the end of the year now, we can really see what we've done, what we've used.
I will say the reality is, he actually got into the system that does our invoicing, which
You didn't have access to it?
whatever, yes, he did not. And so thankfully, we had a nearby business manager that also has access to the same system, was able to help him get into it. And that's why we can now say with confidence, this is actually what's getting done for actuals over the last few years. So they were able to look at the last, I believe it was 3 years.
Yep.
See what did we spend in each one of these cost centers for the last 3 years at actual numbers, and then be able to say with confidence, this is really what needs to be there, instead of this is just what existed in the spreadsheet last year as a placeholder.
Is there any discussion about getting a business manager?
Oh, we
We were in
have
understanding.
one.
You have one? Okay.
July 1, yes, so we worked hard this year to work with the joint board, so she was part-time, 1 day a week doing business manager until July 1, and now she's our business manager. And,
So she would be able to do this stuff that
We are also
that Neighbor
moving-
Town helped us with this
we're
year.
also moving to a new financial software, and so we have some pretty lofty goals to get this.
So hopefully less
much better
typo,
resource.
math mistakes
Well,
next
and I
year.
think, you know, this, if I understand correctly, the use of a spreadsheet was actually, you know, innovated by one of the principals probably 10 years ago, because, and what I found out when I started is the module for budget was never even used in our current software, so, Lena knows, we have some efficiencies to work on in that office, but I think we're on the right track for that.
Other questions?
Better support the principal.
Purchase services went down 9,000, is that just
That's
a
that
correction? Oh, that's that
That's
room.
And on the facilities maintenance, the $50,000 miscellaneous expense, I know you had said something and I missed that, I'm sorry.
That was, we had heard pretty clearly, there are some things, for example, the intercom system got fried this year by a storm, that we need to replace. We're in the midst of getting bids for that, but, and we heard pretty clearly from folks that we need to budget to take care of this beautiful building, but that's 20 years old, that needs, you know, we've had roof, thank goodness the roof has been covered by warranty.
Is that Justin Bieber? Sorry.
You told it not to do that.
So it's basically allocating funds to care for the roof, the boiler, and the
For
alarm system,
what
those types
comes
of
up,
things.
yeah, you know, it may not be enough, but
Yeah.
it is something.
One of the things I was hearing was that because the school is sort of a, you know, if there was ever kind of disaster, side, we expect you to want school for that use.
Emergency shelter, yeah.
Which also is whatever, you know, the municipal side of their, you know, contribute any of that.
That's a discussion I think that needs to happen. I mean, right now, the generator that's there in the warming shelter is only for Walsh Common, like one in bathroom. I mean, it's not, it would not, the whole building can't be the shelter. So even so, there's some discussion that needs to happen, I think, with the town about the facility, any efficiencies we
collaboration,
can,
yeah.
we can find there as well, or what is the, you know, kind of maybe the understanding of the use of the building and what do we need to be.
Right. So I feel like when some of the discussion was like, well, this is a town building, the town needs to use it for these other services other than school, well, that's probably a municipal budget issue as well. That was just a thought I had during some of the discussion of the budget.
We've talked more about looking into, like, are there efficiencies we could find, you know, because, for example, plowing, we use a different company, could we, you know, is there a possibility that we could find some efficiencies there?
Conversations outside the scope of this meeting, or just.
Agreed.
But we're thinking.
Other thoughts on facilities maintenance, or can we go on to debt services?
That service better not have changed.
That services did not change.
Working away, right?
They didn't give us a discount.
And then Justin dug into, food service a lot more, and so reduced that to, from 50,550 to 25,000. And is very confident that that will do.
So debt services, nothing's changed there. And the last one is all other expenditures, including school lunch,
No food service, right?
and that's not different, is it?
It is, it's down from 50,550 to 25,000.
Oh, so it's less than it was last time, I
Yes.
thought Sam was last year.
Yes.
Well, I didn't have questions about that until you said that part of it. So the wages listed was 35,349.
Where he sat with, when he sat with the budget, I mean, the business manager that he sat with last Friday, he gained a deeper understanding of what gets paid for by the food service. They generate funds, so they pay for some things by themselves, and what needs to be in our budget, and so he cut that in half, comfortably cut in half the budget.
That's mine.
So there's a grant or revenue that's coming in that's paying that
Revenue,
employee's, or 10,000 of that employee's salary.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the number to be
Well, I just
honest
mean,
with you
like-
right now, but yes,
Yeah.
there's revenue and grants that,
Alright. Overall, questions about the school budget? Do we feel like we have enough information to make our recommendations?
I could make a comment
Please.
first, okay? So we've got this, updated budget, and we got some, $4,910,000, $910,000. Okay, and so, I came into the town office this morning and I learned that the total taxable property value of the whole town, so everything, all the assessments summed up, is $449 million, so $450 million worth of assessments. Okay, so if you just take the school budget and you divide by the total sum of assessments, then you can come out to the figure, and maybe you can, if it sounds wrong, just, of course, let me know, but $1,092 is the LCS tax burden is $1,092 that each taxpayer will pay per 100,000 assessment on their property. So if you have, your property is assessed at 200,000, then you are paying very close to 2,000 just for the school. Okay, and then this increase in budget, it's $444,000, you know, it's a 9.9% increase. So that comes to $98.72 per 100,000 assessment. People, I mean, I wanted to know, what's this costing me and what's my wallet, right?
Right.
All these changes and the increase. So that's what it is, I'll just round 98 to $100 per 100,000.
The increase.
Yeah, okay, and then you guys had said last night that 80% of this budget increase is like mandated. We have to do it, it's like contractual, yeah, so you can't get out of that. So only 20% of, 20% is this, these electives, social worker, and all the things we've been spending a lot of time talking about. And that's like a total of like $20 per $100,000 assessment. So we've been talking a lot about $20 extra per 100K. Yeah. So, anyway.
John, your math skills as always. I appreciate it.
If correct.
If correct, but I
Yeah.
have faith.
Yeah.
It's close.
Assuming the mill rate don't go up when we get reassessed, right? Which means,
Well, that's,
Can't control your this meeting today, so.
that's for another day.
Alright, so do you feel comfortable in going through these articles and bring the recommendations in? Alright, start at the top. So you're looking at regular instruction, school committee recommendation, or the recommendation of this budget is $1,728,507.32. I will entertain a motion.
well, I move to approve Article 4 as written.
A second? Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, all unanimous. Okay, and to Article 5, special education. The recommendation is $998,594.19. I will entertain motions.
I move to approve 998,594.19.
Second,
Second.
discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? Okay, recommending amount of $998,594.19. I guess we make a recommendation on career and technical education, amount of $0.
Make a motion, we accept zero.
I'll second that. All in favor? Alright. Other instruction, $51,476 is the recommendation. Motion.
I move to approve Article 7 as written.
Second. Discussion? All in favor? Okay. Student and staff support, the amount of $456,787.73. We have a motion.
I move to approve Article 8 as written.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? System administration, $219,845.57.
I move to approve Article 9 as written.
Second. Any discussion on that one? All in favor? Passes. School administration, $279,540.31.
How much did you say?
$278,549.31.
Make a motion, we approve Article 10 for $278,549.31.
Second.
That's satisfied for you, isn't it?
I know, right? I should have put 30 instead of 31 to see if we.
Discussion? All in favor? Transportation and buses for $384,462.
I move to approve Article 11.
Second. All in favor? Facilities maintenance, $432,832.99. All in favor? Or sorry, motion, oh, get ahead of myself. No hurry, sorry.
I move to approve Article 12.
Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Okay, for debt services and other commitments, $334,235.22.
I move to approve Article 13.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, so this sum, town will appropriate the total cost of public funding education from pre-K to grade 8 as described in Central Programs and Services Funding Act. Oh, did this 14? Okay. All other expenditures in school lunch for $25,000.
Motion to approve 14 as written.
Second, all right. All in favor? Now to Article 15, to see what sum the town will appropriate the total cost of funding public education from pre-K to grade 8 as described in the Essential Programs and Servicing Funding Act, and to see what sum the town will raise as the town's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-K to grade 8 as described in the Essential Program Services Funding Act in accordance with the main revised statutes, Title 20A, etc. Section 15688. School committee is recommending $3,411,898.53 to be appropriated, and $2,552,523.57 to be raised.
Could you repeat that? I'm
No.
only kidding. I make a motion to approve Article 15.
I will second that. All in favor? To see what sum the town will raise and appropriate for the annual payments on debt services previously approved by the legislative body for non-state funded school construction projects or non-state funded portions of the school construction projects, in addition to the funds appropriated as a local share of the town's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-K to grade 8. School committee recommends $334,235.22. Yes.
I think that's probably, you're on Article 16, right?
Yes, so this one?
Is that a double up of?
I think that should have been a 0,
I wondered about that.
What should have been a 0?
the whole thing. Because all our debt service over there is state funded. And
I wondered about that, David, I meant to ask you.
you highlighted that in the copy
I
of the
did,
warrant you
didn't I?
sent to me, and I'm like,
Okay.
what is this? Why is Article 16
Did
highlighted?
I not explain why I highlighted?
You did not.
So then I move that the budget committee recommends $0.
I will second that.
And I think probably the school committee recommends 0 too, but I'm not sure. Even though they're
Makes
not.
sense.
As long as we cover our debt service, we're good.
Yeah, we don't want to double calculate it.
Let's do
We
it.
can change that on the
Item
27th.
17 is
We will.
written, no, do recommend that one.
Yeah, you highlighted it.
See what sum the town raise and appropriate the sum,
Yeah,
additional fund, local funds exceeds state's essential programs and service allotment model. This is the amount of money that we're recommending over what the state requires us to pay.
So does that include the addition of Article 16?
No.
That total number?
No.
nope,
Okay.
So the recommendation is that we do $1,498,441.80, which exceeds the EPS by $1,472,441.80. So what, they pay us $25,000?
no, the food service gets subtracted out.
Okay, from that amount, okay.
Nice math. For a social worker.
Quiet you. Gavel get Rosie down. Do we have a motion? Any questions on this one?
So the amount we're actually putting in the blank in the question is the second number, right?
There's actually
There's actually two blanks.
two blanks, one's in parenthesis and one at the very
See,
end.
I'm like,
Yeah, so blank,
Okay.
blank.
got it.
So the first number, the 1,498,000 is the one we're actually going to approve.
Oh, we're going to approve, to recommend both of them. Yes, the
The first-
1,498, the first one
It's
we're
the
going to recommend.
additional local.
Yeah, motion?
I think the way this is worded gets confusing, and that's why we're looking at
Right.
this. What does it mean by exceeds EPS?
Can I share, can I,
Please.
do you mind? So the 1.49844,180 is the difference between what you have to pay, which is called the local contribution, plus the subsidy, which is Article 15, and the total budget. So in Article 15, you approved to appropriate 3.4 million. That was subsidy plus what the state said you have to pay for essential services. Now we're saying to you that we need more than the essential services, and that number is 1.49844,180. The explanation down below is that the essential services doesn't include things like extracurricular, special ed, things like that, so we need the extra money. Then, food service is not included in the essential services formula, so the second number, I have to subtract food service out in order to give you that number. And that is the explanation, which is very confusing. I apologize, but I'm right.
So we're gonna, go before the voters again, right? So these questions that are confusing and, a narrative like you gave right at the beginning, are you guys planning to recite something like that to all the voters at the July 22nd meeting
I think we are, yeah.
to explain, okay, yeah,
I mean, this vote comes up every year like this, John, it's always, and so I'm happy to do it either as it comes up, it's the same language every year.
Mhm.
Sometimes people ask, sometimes they don't. But I'm happy to explain it.
But also a narrative about the half-time social worker and the half.
The whole overall
the
budget,
whole
yes,
overall
but
thing.
the why articles are written the way they do,
Yeah,
that's kind of
that's
a state, or I don't know,
new article.
created it, but yeah.
Something that I just want to kind of comment on is with this process here, and kind of face something that hadn't happened before, which the school budget was voted down when previously it had been voted at the school meeting, the town meeting, which is kind of the lesson in civics that this whole town had to kind of learn. I heard comments about, wait, the school board meeting is public. Well, school board meetings are always public, as are budget committee meetings. But people didn't know that, and people, the language, which can be sort of archaic and, Dave, you're kind of an expert on this stuff, how things are written, is something that can be very confusing for people. And I think I really appreciate how involved the town people have gotten in this. Small town democracy is hard work. It's messy, and it's confusing, and it takes real involvement. It's not just like, I need to show up and I understand everything. And my hope is that people will become more involved. I mean, we have slots on this budget committee. There's lots of town boards, every week I read This Week in Lincolnville, I put the right copy of the municipal calendar. There's all kinds of committees that people can take part in, that people be part of, understand how things are spent, and get their voice heard, maybe before the last minute. Like the whole budget process, there's time to chime in and discuss this. And yeah, it's hard to find time to do that, but I think that's the sort of lesson, is that we all need to be involved, the whole time, and put our voices out there and really steer which direction we want this town to go in. So that's my little soapbox for the moment, and I just really have appreciated all the discussion, the hard work that, the school superintendent's office
the school committee, select board, the townspeople that are involved come out here, and speak out on social media. I think all that stuff is good. It's what we need in a small town, so. All right, so we still need to get a motion out on it.
Motion to approve 17 as written.
Do we have a second?
Second,
All those in favor? And so Article 18, to see what sum the town will authorize the school committee to expend in the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025, for the town's contribution to the total cost of funding public education in pre-K and grade A, as described in the Essential Technical Program Services Funding Act, non-state funded school construction projects, additional local funds for school purposes under the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and other receipts for the support of schools. School committee recommends the amount of $4,910,340.33.
Make a motion, we approve Article 18 for $4,910,340.33.
second.
All in favor? Article 19, to see if the town will vote to authorize in addition to amounts approved in the preceding articles, the school committee to expend sums that may be received from federal or state grants or programs or other sources during the fiscal year for school purposes, provided that such grants, programs, and other sources do not require the expenditure of other funds not previously appropriated. School committee recommends an approval.
I move to approve Article 19 as written.
Second.
All in favor? Finally, Article 20, to see if the town will vote to transfer the balance of remaining funds, the Lincoln Central Schools unassigned fund balance as determined by the fiscal year 23 audit to the Lincolnville Central Schools Facility Reserve Fund to be expended by a vote of the school committee. School committee recommends an approval. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right.
Second,
Okay. All in favor?
I do have a question on that.
Yes.
I know there's an audit ongoing, when will that be complete?
So we are still in the process of getting the federal funds invoiced. Right now, we're ready, we're waiting for approval from the state on some changes we made in order to invoice. Brewer & Brewer has made it clear they're not gonna start until those are invoiced, so I am very hopeful. The process is long in terms of the state, but they did tell me they were going to have that done. I didn't hear from her today, I was hoping to hear from her today. We're here tomorrow, so if it goes tomorrow, we can get at least 6 months out and get the next 6 months after that gets approved, but.
Wait, I thought we had one invoice left, right?
We have two 6-month invoices left.
The two.
Yeah.
Is that that is different than your 110,000?
That's the 24.
You're still talking about the 2
This
years
was
ago
grants.
audit. I'm talking, yes.
Yes, yeah. They're related in that the 24 closeout number, whatever the number would be for 23, is determined by so last night we were discussing the closeout of 24, because June 30th was last week. So yes, that's different. This is, the auditors are not starting 23 because these grants haven't been invoiced yet, and they want that done. And that was not, there's a federal deadline that's in the fall for invoicing these grants, so it's what we were working on with the auditors, kind of moved the goalpost, and so we've been working to try to get that done as fast as possible, but it's not a fast process.
We've done our part, we just have to wait to get submitted.
Right now, hopefully, they're gonna approve what we get in, we can submit. And then, so it'll be 2 submits, we submit, approval, and submit.
Will we be able to work, sorry, I totally just started asking questions, are you okay?
We're all curious, thanks.
Well, no, if we have 24s has just wrapped up and we have that done, can we still be working on 24s?
Oh,
We're
yeah.
submitting
Oh,
23s,
yeah,
so
yeah.
even though Brewer won't
Well,
meet with us for 23s,
We can be
We can
ready
still-
for 24.
proceed with 24.
Well, they are the ones that proceed, but we can be ready. So in these past couple of years, the finance office has not been ready.
Right, but if we say we got 24 ready and we reach out to Brewer,
They can't do 24 till they close out 23. They have to close 23 before we can finish 24.
But I mean, it must be us that's delaying that, because the audit company wouldn't just say, we can't do this, and we would have an opportunity to say, we require you to do this based on services that you've contracted with us. So they must be waiting for the school to do something.
the
Waiting on
invoicing
that,
of the,
the invoicing of the grant.
I know, but invoicing for something that's almost 2 years old now?
Oh,
COVID money.
yeah, I
Yes.
mean, we had millions of dollars go through our office that was not expected over the last 4 years. And no new staff, so, in 3 schools, so yeah, we got behind. Everybody's behind, but that's not an excuse, we are behind.
Yeah, I think I appreciate hearing that, but you guys gotta get on the ball here, so hopefully we won't be having a discussion next year. I'm really happy to be
The
happy
good
to
thing
hear
is the
about
COVID
the
money
audit's
is
all
done.
done.
Once this is done invoicing, it's not like a recurring invoicing that has to happen. It was like millions of dollars of invoicing that normally we would, it was nice to get it, it was benefited our school, but we didn't have the staff.
I don't think there's a lot of after effects of the COVID money, although COVID in general continues to have effects, on all kinds of things, but.
But we couldn't have been just spending money willy-nilly, like, it just seems like like, invoicing seems like it would have been.
And we fronted that money.
Yeah.
This is a reimbursement to us,
To get it back.
and so all of us, it's our money that we've spent that we're hoping
You'll get
somebody
that.
reimburses us for,
Right.
or else.
Well, no.
Creek.
That was
Yeah,
not an
right.
ideal situation. Can I bring something up? Am I allowed to bring something up? Dave, that Article 16,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at our minutes from last night, and the school committee did not actually vote anything for Article 16.
I'm more than happy to
So
change
can we
that
put it
to
at
zero.
0?
Yeah.
Okay,
We skipped it?
we skipped it.
All right, any other things we need to discuss as budget committee?
I believe we haven't taken a vote on the vote.
Did we?
They did vote on it, didn't
Yeah,
Yeah.
you asked your question
No.
after we voted.
Oh, did I ask a question after we voted?
they?
No.
Yeah, we'll look at it. So we already recognized, so just let you guys go on.
As long as you yes anyway, so.
All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Wait.
Oh,
No.
public comment, right?
Please,
Yes.
yes.
I'd like to say thank you. This has been a painful process, but many taxpayers in this town have been definitely upset with where it has gotten. The fact that the budget committee voted down certain articles, thank you. That's from everybody that's been talking to me about it. The reason that you voted no on some of those articles is why we got back to where we are today. So it's an important process. You did the right things. The school board's been doing the right things. I'm happy that we found a lot of, sound like, errors, and we learned a little bit more throughout the process as well. So it's not always fun. It's oftentimes painful, and it goes at a snail's pace, as we know town politics do. But it was an important process, so thank you.
And that's, as we discussed here, that I really see is been on this committee for forever now, but I see that as the biggest role we play, even though oftentimes we don't have any discussions, but we've seen municipal budgets, we've seen school budgets, and I'm against where it's like, this one's a little more controversial, and I think that sometimes just voting on it, even if it's not our personal beliefs, we vote on these things sometimes because we feel like town needs to be aware this is an issue that warrants more discussion, which is what happened in this time, and that's again what makes, small town politics great, even though they're challenging and difficult. And, again, thank you to the school board and this office for the work you did on this budget, and for administrators and school and the select board for all working on the municipal budget, and Rosie. And Rosie. Rosie's got something to say.
And so, it is just so much easier, whether it's the budget committee, whether it's the selectmen, whether it's the school board, the cemetery trustees, if things are crystal clear, so that the people can see it and understand it, things run a lot smoother. Like I said last night's meeting, we had a free fire station given to us, and we had people vote against it, so just be prepared, you know, that some people just vote no on everything. But I think having some, you know, not 100%, it's not 100%, but having a clear explanation of some of these things is going to help the voters see things a little differently. They may not be happy about the 9.9624.1 vote. What's that?
9.94.
Yeah. And so, but at least it's under that double digit, and that psychologically will help, and so, yes. Thank you, everybody.
Rosie. All right, do I hear a movement to adjourn? Any other discussion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. I will see you
We have
guys.
to vote all in
again.
favor.
Vote on this? All right, all in favor? No, I'm staying here. Can't get out of the office.
Thank you for
Okay.
always
The 22nd.
helping.
What's the 22nd?
That's